Hi everyone, my name is Fab Marion and I'm co-director of Unlock Your Block together with Leo Callisto. We'd like to share with you an innovative way of being able to develop your property together with Vision 1 projects. So here's what we're going to learn throughout this series. So firstly, we're going to learn how to unlock the equity or cash in your property. And obviously that's involved with subdivision. We're going to learn how to develop your property if you need to build on your property or whether you don't need to build on your property, so with or without building. Learn how to profit from your property without the need for a bank. We've got a very unique and innovative way of being able to develop property without having to get the bank's finance to do it. We're also going to learn of being able to find most safely profitable development sites. How many times have you looked on realestate.com or other areas and find it very hard to find a site that just works for you? We're going to find out how much it costs to subdivide, and we're going to talk about how long it takes to subdivide as well. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea or coffee and enjoy the series. Right, so we're going to talk about what we do, and we've broken it down to three simple things. And firstly, the most importantly, is we project manage subdivisions. So we take care of everything from A to Z, from the very inception right through to the very completion of the subdivision, including helping in driving the sale where it's required. We can help out and build and develop. So you may wish to build on the property that you're subdividing, or you may wish to carry out a development. We've got two unique ways of being able to look at building and developing on your site. And thirdly is that we can also help you find the right block of land to make sure that you're going to purchase something that is profitable and that you minimise all the risk that may be with that potential site. So we're going to show you some examples and of ones that you may be familiar with when you're looking on realestate.com and other channels. So there's the rear of, the simple rear of that you're most familiar with, where the front house remains and you've got a block on the back of it. Some of the rear block can be either accessed by a pedestrian access way, which runs alongside the house, or a driveway to be able to get to the rear block, like this example here. Then you've got the ones that is very common, where you see that the house is going to be demolished, as you see here, and two street front blocks that are created facing the street. And the third one that we get quite involved with, or another example, is where we've got a number of blocks that are accessed by a common driveway that enables the new occupants to be able to go to their new homes on their individual blocks. So these are some examples of what you could, some before and after images. So sometimes it's quite difficult to be able to see how we go about subdividing. So the before image is the before the house was subdivided and before we created the access ways, and then the after is the good demonstration of how we get the access to that rear property and what we may need to do to the front house. And then these examples are quite good to demonstrate that. This particular one is the before shot is showing the before the house or the rear block was subdivided. So when we approached this site for our clients, it was pretty straightforward to see that they didn't want to keep their backyard. The whole backyard was covered in tarpaulin, and they had pot plants and everything all their plants in pots. They did not have one bit of soil, one bit of grass, and if there was a bit of grass, as you may see, it's all fake grass. They didn't want to have any maintenance to do with it whatsoever. So it was simple to see they didn't want that block. The after shot is where we cleared the site, and you'd see it's quite a moonscape and ready for the new buyer to be able to build their new home. So we're now going to talk about how we do it, how we go about helping our clients, helping you to be able to unlock your block. So the first thing is we'll research whether your block can be subdivided. We'll research whether you can unlock your block. We will calculate how much it will cost to be able to subdivide your property. So we'll be able to give you a pretty good indicative ballpark of where it needs to sit to be able to subdivide. we have to research whether there are going to be buyers on the other end of what you're looking to sell. That's absolutely important. It's that we can subdivide your property, but without knowing the buyer demand for the newly created lot, then it doesn't work. We need to make sure that there's going to be demand for whatever we're going to create to the market. We're going to work out as well how much you're going to get back once the new block sells. So even if you've got an existing mortgage, we'll be able to work backwards and look at what your mortgage is going to be reduced by, or even completely eliminate your mortgage, or how much cash you're going to get back by subdividing. Most important for us is we want to understand why you're looking to subdivide, because that will help us be able to guide you as to what potential options that you will best suit your goals and your outcome. So your why, your motivation is most important to us. You might be looking to reduce debt. You might be looking just to grab some cash to be able to buy something something that you like, or you might be looking to retire. So that's quite important to understand that. And most importantly after that is we will be able to demonstrate and show you whether subdividing is actually going to be beneficial and viable to you. So if your block can't be subdivided, then we like to think that we've saved you a whole great deal of time, a great deal of money, and a bunch of information that would just keep you going to be able to look at what you need to be asking, what you need to be looking for your next project. So I think it's still valuable being able to tell you or show you that you may not be able to subdivide because it just may not work for you in the outcome that you're looking to achieve. If your block can be subdivided, then we start to have a look at, well, how much does it cost to be able to subdivide? So a typical subdivision will generally cost somewhere between $30,000 to $60,000 for one additional lot. So if the house is to be removed and demolished, then they're quite often less expensive. If you're looking to keep your existing house, then there's certain requirements that are required of your house to be able to get it to comply, and that's where the subdivision costs can come up slightly. If you're looking to subdivide any additional lots, you probably want to allow between $10,000 to $15,000 the extra per additional lot that you're looking to subdivide. So the majority of the work is done with creating the one lot, and then the other additional lots is just really a little bit more around new services that are required to these new lots. What's most important is that the Unlock Your Block pass on the actual cost to you from the trades, contractors, and all the statutory fees and charges. We apply no markup or any margin on top of any hard costs. Now we have two ways of being able to go about the subdivision. Once you have the actual cost to subdivide, you've got two options of whether you pay for the subdivision, and that works in that we simply apply a flat project management fee on top of the physical works and all the statutory fees and charges. So Unlock Your Block will manage all of the subdivision works that are required to be able to get your site approved to be subdivided, to being able to carry out all the physical works to complete the subdivision and get the titles at the end of it. So we will project manage and oversee all the detail that's required to get it to that point. The project payment, the project management fee, is we get paid in installments as the milestones are made over the course of the subdivision process. We have quite a unique model in that if you don't have the ability to be able to fund the subdivision costs yourself, then Unlock Your Block can pick up the costs of the entire project on your behalf, and that's what we call We Pay. So once we find a suitable buyer, that's when the proceeds of the subdivision costs are reimbursed at the very end of it. So once a buyer is secured and it proceeds to settlement. So the Unlock Your Block project management fee and the funding fee are paid only at settlement. So you pay little or nothing at all, and the upfront, and then Unlock Your Block will get reimbursed once we find a suitable sale and settlement of it. So again, wanted to mention it's that we tender for the most cost-effective subdivision to be able to get the cost down for you as much as possible. So we don't apply any margin, no markups, or on top of the actual physical costs for your subdivision itself. So one of the other important things that we get asked of each time a client would like to subdivide is how long does it take? So I'm going to step you through the process of which we would take to be able to help you in being able to understand the time frames that are required at each milestone that is required to subdivide. So the first thing is once you contact Unlock Your Block, we're going to do an initial desktop assessment, and that involves looking at the council intramap information, looking at where the services are. We've got a really good snapshot of what your property what can be done on your property simply by a desktop assessment. So that will involve can your block be subdivided, and what potential cost it's going to be by having a look at the desktop, and what your potential returns could be. So it's around about 48 to 72 hours for Unlock Your Block to be able to provide you with that information. Generally it's going to be quicker, but case by case on unique sites may take a little longer. Once we understand that can be subdivided, we're going to carry out a formal cost assessment. So that's done through what we call the scope of works quotation. And that's a very detailed document that's going to break down the exact cost of what it's going to be to subdivide your property. It's very comprehensive, and you're going to know exactly what it will be if you were to go forward with your subdivision. We then enter into a project management agreement to commence the subdivision process. So that scope of works agreement up to the point of the project management agreement is generally going to take around about 2 to 3 weeks. And once we've got your approval to be able to proceed, we firstly need to submit an application to the West Australian Planning Commission, or WAPC, and we're going to sit on our hands for about 60 to 90 days while we wait for that approval to come back from all the local authorities. In the meantime, we're doing a fair bit of work in the background to be able to start scheduling the works that are likely to take place with your subdivision. So we're doing a lot of work in the background whilst we're waiting for that. Once we get the approval, we'll get a bunch of conditions that the authorities will place on subdividing your property, and we start then carrying out the physical works. And what we mean by that is things like clearing of the site or the demolition, and bringing up all the services to the new lot. So power, water, gas, the sewer, etc. And that generally will take anywhere between 2 to 3 months' time, depending on the amount of works that's going to be required on your site. Once we've finished all the physical works, we then have to submit for clearances to the local authorities that we have completed the physical works in line with the conditions from the Planning Commission. So to get those clearances, it generally takes around about another 60 to 90 days from the local authorities, and that will allow us to take it right through to settlement. So when we look at those timeframes and what it's likely to take from the very start to the finish, you're looking at anywhere between the 6 months is an absolute best, up to about a 10-month time frame. So if we break it down, it's about 2 to 3 months to get the application, 2 to 3 months to carry out the physical works, and 2 to 3 months to get the approvals. So the number one goal and our premise is a number of things, but most importantly, we have to find a buyer for your block of land. If there's no buyer, then it's simple to say that if nothing happens, nothing happens. And what we mean by that is that if we can't find a buyer, if we can't make it work for you, if it doesn't prove viable, then we simply don't proceed forward. We will tell you straight away whether the subdivision is going to give you the result that you need or not. So if it shows that it's not going to be beneficial, that's pretty much where it stops. We don't want you spending any money subdividing and going through the process if it doesn't work for you. So if you're looking to sell your block of land, then we can assist in selling that in a number of ways. One is through a local real estate agent and designing house and land packages for your block. And that's where we work with the team from Vision One Projects to be able to show what potential home or design can fit on your block and how much it's going to potentially cost to build, so that if you're looking to build, you've got that information straight away, or for buyers looking to build, they have that information straight away. by working with the team at Vision One Projects, we can offer sound design and building advice for yourself or the buyer, being able to determine what can fit, how much it was going to cost, what sort of setbacks are required, and a whole lot of information that will educate in making the right decisions going forward. So we can go about selling, if you're looking to sell, we can go about selling your block of land in a number of ways. One of them is selling the block of land through an agent or as house and land package. So this diagram here is something that you're going to see quite often. The block size is 409 square meters, so it's a fairly large block. It's a fairly simple subdivision. And as a buyer, they're going to be able to identify that a home can be built on that because there's enough space for it to be built on. So it's fairly straightforward and fairly easy to sell. Where it becomes a little bit more complex is where we've got 3 or more sites that you're looking to sell, and each of those properties are going to be accessed by one driveway. And that is where it can be a little bit complex to be able to sell as individual blocks of land, and it may require a different approach. So what we're going to do in the next section is we're going to step you through what approach that we would take to be able to help you sell these blocks of land and get the maximum return from your property.